Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan before I request him to take the podium. Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan has been the Managing Director and CEO of BSE Limited since November 2012. He served as the CEO of BSE Limited from 2009 to 2012, and he has been a director at BSE Limited since November 2012. He also serves as Director of BOI Shareholding Limited, Central Depository Services India Limited, United Stock Exchange at India Limited, and as a member of Clearing Council and Governing Council at BSE Limited. Would like to request Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan to please share his thoughts on role of exchanges in promoting business responsibilities. So, over to you.
Good morning, Mr. Chandrasekhar, Mr. Chauhan, my friend Venkatraman, friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure and honor to be in front of you. BSE has been a catalyst of creating wealth for 140 years now. It was set up in 1875 under a banyan tree. And since then, it has now 5,525 companies listed. With a wealth that is represented here is $1.7 trillion. So effectively, BSE has been a cradle of the capitalism, of corporate governance, and also investor activism throughout these 140 years. In fact, the name itself, when it was set up as a native share and stockbroker association, as opposed to British. In fact, till 1925, only Indians could become members of BSE. Only in 1925, it was a kind of a reverse discrimination those days. And so BSE has been at the forefront of many such movements. And many of its members were also actively involved in the freedom movement and participated by donating funds and so on and so forth. This convention hall has seen the development of Indian capital market over past 140 years. It used to be the trading ring till 1995. Only in 1995 it became a convention hall because we became automated. The corporate social responsibility is the buzzword, and I'm delighted that Mr. Chauhan has been taking the torch forward. For us as an exchange, there are two sides of running an exchange world. One is transaction processing, where every moment hundreds and millions of transactions keep on coming into the exchange. And we need to not only give you the right information, but also give you an execution on those transactions which you do. Today, BSE is giving you a response time of 200 microseconds. In 1 second, there are 1 million microseconds, that is 10 lakh microseconds. And BSE gives you response time at the level of a millionth of a second. BSE will continue to be at the forefront of transaction processing, not only of matching the information, giving you the information, but also in doing clearing, settlement, risk management, and so on and so forth, so that Indian markets are safe. And there are no issues relating to the transaction processing and getting the shares in your account or the money in your account. But the more important part is about corporate governance and sustainability. The corporate governance is a huge issue. And it used to be a huge issue 140 years back when BSE started. It still is a huge issue. But if you look back, even 25 years back, we were talking about corporate governance in different context. Not many companies had the same financial year. Not many companies were giving their annual reports in time. Those days, those were the larger issues. And today's issues of insider trading and so on and so forth have come to the forefront because the earlier issues have been resolved. So in a sense, the issues of corporate governance and sustainability are also relating to the time and space in which we work. Currently, in those days also, the corporate governance was more about investor protection, the minority investor protection. There is a huge asymmetry of information and asymmetry of power. Asymmetry of information is a concept where the insiders in the company, that is the managers, the owner managers, have more information vis-a-vis outsiders. And we as an exchange are trying to bridge that gap to make it the gap to be as small as possible, as short as possible. And we are, in a sense, becoming successful more and more in making the companies report onto the exchange. The exchange also has a completely automated reporting platform now where companies report their quarterly reports and material events on real-time basis, which is being shown on the exchange website and given to all the data vendors on real-time basis. The other issue is basically the asymmetry of power. The minority shareholders have very little power in companies' management in making the decisions which company makes, and sometimes there are allegations of company management or company large or majority owners taking decisions which benefit them personally or their companies. And that's why the New Companies Act has certain provisions which many of the corporates do not like, but it is in a sense a backlash to what we have done in the past. In some sense, we need to come to a middle ground, but effectively, the corporates have to also understand that today, the new India, the new world, which is young, which is dynamic, which has more information than ever before, is asking for more information, more power in company running of the companies. And we need to be aware and also sort of suitably modify how we actually run the companies. The corporates have been reasons for great good. The first corporates started coming up. The limited liability concept is one of the most fundamental innovations of the mankind. The limited liability companies are not natural entities. They are artificial entities. They come out of the social contract, the society we stay in. And in some sense, from 1400 onwards, since the company started coming up, they have been a reason for great good. Most of the mankind's progress over the last 600 years has been due to corporates. But they have also been reason for great bad. East India Company was one of the prime examples. They came for trading and they subjugated us. There are many such companies today also which go beyond the mandate they have. And we need to be vigilant as a society in ensuring that the corporates add value to the society rather than subtracting values. And because they are not natural entities, corporates will have to continue to justify their existence to the rest of the society, saying why that they should be allowed to exist in a society. The first Indian Companies Act was set up in 1850. And then there was 1956, basically 1956 Act, which was largely based on the past, but we became independent and we had to take over the newer sort of responsibilities, and that's why we passed it in the parliament. And now we had 2013 Companies Act, which is again going through so many changes. Venkat and others will probably throw some light on that. But for me, the corporates have to work with the society to ensure that they solve the problems of the society. Today, what are the problems that India is facing? India's job for me for next 20 years is to create jobs. India needs to create 1.5 crore, that's 15 million new jobs every year for next 20 years. 1.5 crore or 15 million is slightly larger than US's total unemployment. US needs to create only less than 14 million employment to make all of them fully employed. And we need to make 15 million new jobs every year, year after year for next 20 years. It's a huge challenge. And if we, what we call demographic dividend, if we do not succeed in creating jobs, creating skills that is required, we are going to have a huge issue, and it could be a demographic tax. It could be a demographic disaster if we are not able to manage that. And somewhere on the line, the corporates need to come up to the task and create jobs. We need to create jobs in infrastructure, in services, in defense, in manufacturing, and so on and so forth. But that is one large piece of the puzzle we need to solve for India to remain one, India to progress, and India to take its place in the community of nations. The second part, of course, has got a huge fillip with the Prime Minister himself taking up the issue on October 2nd, the Clean India campaign. Third portion is corruption. We have all discussed this over so many years, but corporates also have been part of the same process, and they need to clean themselves up to ensure that whatever we do is basically for the benefits of the society. And also we provide a society in which corporates are also equally contributing in cleaning India, not only physically, but also mentally by getting rid of the corruption. BSE has been doing its job in this aspect. It's a part of the Sustainable Exchange Group of United Nations. BSE also has been making it mandatory for top 100 companies for responsibility reporting. There are almost 90 companies which also report on global basis on GRI, which is one of the largest. India is one of the largest countries in the world which reports the global responsibility reporting GRI framework. BSE also has come out with several indices like BSE GreenX, BSE CarbonX, and so on and so forth for reporting on carbon and other activities. And BSE is now mulling to set up a CSR exchange. Basically, the New Companies Act has made it mandatory for many companies beyond particular size to spend more than 2% of their profits on corporate social responsibility related initiatives. And BSE is now talking to various corporates, various NGOs to ensure that we create a framework. And BSE has been running an exchange business for 140 years. We are trying to now create a framework where the corporates can select from the projects that are available from NGOs and ensure that the NGOs or those projects get funding and the corporates get the transparency that they require in the areas they operate in, and so on and so forth. So that is one area we are currently actively working on. And I thought this would be a good platform, Mr. Chauhan, to announce that we are currently working. It's not very at the advanced stage, but it's a plan on which we are very, very keen to work on. With that, I would like to thank all of you for coming today morning and look forward to a great conference today. Thank you very much.